What's going on, growers? It's James Prigioni coming to you live from Jersey. I got a fun one for you today. I'm going to show you how to prune blackberries to get higher yields, healthier plants. Let's go. If you have the space, I highly suggest you plant blackberries. There's a number of reasons. The first one is the flavor. It's amazing. You can't compare it from the ones from the store. The ones from the store, a lot of times they're not ripe. You know, they're not grown organically. They don't have that love in it that I like to put in my blackberries. So the ones I grow here, I go out there, I get them when they're fresh, when they're ripe. This is organic and it's grown with love. So I think it makes all the difference. The flavor, incredible. Another thing is the antioxidants. They're actually good for you. So not only do you get the good flavor, you get all the benefits of all those antioxidants, the cancer-fighting properties, super important. The third thing is how easy they are to actually grow. Although they're super easy to grow, there are a few things, a few techniques that you could actually go with that I'm going to show you today that'll actually give you higher production, healthier plants. That's what we're going to get into. The first thing that I want to mention is that there's a few kinds of blackberries. There's trailing, semi-erect, and erect. We've got ones with thorns and ones without thorns. To break this down, to make it a little simpler for us, not to use some of that lingo as well, I'm just going to break into two sections. We've got ones that are trailing that basically have to grow up trellises, and then ones that are erect or semi-erect that can basically stand on their own. So we'll start right there. As I make my way through the food forest here, we got some strawberries in the ground, some grapes, and we're working over to these blackberries back here. This is a thornless variety. This is the Navajo. It's a semi-erect blackberry. One thing that's important to note is if you don't have that much space and you want to grow in a food forest or something, I recommend you plant thornless ones because you don't want to be walking by these blackberries all the time if they're super thorny, getting caught on it and having those kinds of issues when you're in a food forest in a polyculture setting. Tuck's down here inspecting, making sure all these blackberries are growing well, making sure nothing's going after it too bad, getting a lot of his sniffs in. And you can see this blackberry, it's kind of a mess, but that's okay. I'm going to show you how we can clean this up with the right techniques. And a lot of these canes are super long. I'm going to bring you over to a smaller blackberry plant that I did stay on top of pruning, kind of show you the difference and show you a little bit of the techniques. Then I'll get into it and start cutting this one. Right here is another thornless semi-erect blackberry. This one's a little smaller and one I stayed on top of pruning a little better. Next to me here we got the compost pile cooking up, doing real well. I'll bring you guys along for that. And there's a couple of things I want to talk about. First of it is the kinds of canes that come out. So basically, you have got blackberry plant here, and this coming spring or summer, you're going to see a new shoot, a new sucker shoot out of the ground. That's what we call the primocane. So what's going to happen is that sucker is going to grow straight up, and that's what this was last spring or summer. This one grew straight out of the ground as a primocane, and then about 3 or 4 feet high, once it got to that height, we pruned it at a nice 45-degree angle to shed water. But we prune that at that height for a number of reasons. The main reason is to actually strengthen that stalk so it doesn't just flop over onto the ground like I had in some of my other blackberries I'll show you. Another reason was to actually encourage that stronger lateral branching, because on this lateral branching is where your fruit is going to be. As we scan just to the side a little more, you can see this was another primocane, which was the first year cane, and then we pruned it about 4 feet high, 3.5 to 4 feet, and it shot out those stronger lateral branches. So next year, this is going to be the floral cane. This is where all the fruit's going to be. After it fruits, what happens is the cane is going to die off and it's never going to produce again. That's the instance that we had right here. You could see some of the spots the blackberries were on last year, right here. So this cane is now dead. It's suggested that you actually cut this cane out right after it's finished. This way, you know, you cut off any opportunity for disease or pest issues. So right now isn't the best time to prune your blackberries, but I wanted to come along and show you guys how I do it. Let me bring you to the other blackberry plant and we'll start showing how to do it. Like I just previously mentioned, this isn't necessarily the best time to prune your blackberry. The time you want to get rid of those dead branches is right away, once the plant's finished producing. Once those floral canes are all done, because they'll never produce again. And for the, like I said, the primocanes, when they're growing, it's best to prune those once they reach that 3.5 to 4 feet height. So this is a primocane right here that I didn't cut at that height. As a result of not cutting it, it got so heavy, dropped down, now it's just laying on the ground. Now that's not terrible, but I don't want it like that. It's actually going to reduce a lot of my space. And because I didn't prune it early, I lost some of that growth in the lateral branches. What I'm going to do now though is go back to that 4 feet height, cut it, and then at the end, I'll tie some of it to the fence just because it's got a little weakened from not standing up on its own. Before I do any of that though, the first thing we want to do is the simplest thing and just get rid of any of the dead branches, any of the dead canes. We'll move those as low as we possibly can.
Baby, asked you not to keep me waiting. waiting. I told you not to keep me waiting.
You can see this was the cane from last year, about 3.5 feet high, strong laterals, and we had a good fruit on this one, big fruit. The bigger the stalks you have, actually, the bigger your stalks, the bigger your fruit is going to be. So we're also going to go through and select some of the biggest stalks and remove some of the smaller ones that are just a little spindly, that are going to get in the way, that are actually not going to help our production really at all.
Belladonna, have you seen me? And have you ever really seen me? Like I want for you to see me now.
So we're going to take these primocane here, nice tall one, get it back to about 3 or 4 feet. We don't want to go too low, we want to keep some of that good side branching. So we'll take it about here. Again, take that 45-degree angle so we can shed water nicely. And we'll just do that for the large, big ones. A few of them I did already prune at 3 to 4 feet. And you can see the difference, this one right here. I'll bring you a little closer after, but this one has such better side branching, a lot stronger stalk overall because we pruned that one at the right time. Timing is really important with this. Not completely dire, but also important. We've got another primocane here. So we're gonna cut that, it'll be a floral cane next year. Now that we've cut what last summer was primocanes, and next summer will be floral canes down to about 3 to 4 feet. You'll notice some of these side branching, it's very long. What we want to do is reduce some of that size to about, say, 12, 16 inches, because we don't want it getting too heavy that it's going to drop over that whole stalk. So we're going to cut these back a little bit. That looks good to me. This will really clean things up a lot also, allowing more airflow, more light, which is something that's super important whenever producing any kind of fruit. Now I'm going to come through and clean up this blackberry using the techniques that I just showed you. There's 3 main ones you want to focus on. The first one is after your floral canes produce fruit that year, you want to just cut it and remove it because it'll never produce again. The next one is once those primocanes shoot up out of the ground in the summer, they'll be about 3 to 4 feet. Once they get there, cut that. Encourage the lateral branching and encourage that stronger stalk. That's what's going to give you the better harvest in the future. The third thing is once you are doing this kind of pruning, go down to the stump, find out the spindliest, smallest canes and remove those. You want to keep about 4 to 6 long, strong canes coming from each clump. That's what I'm going to do here. I'm going to go through and get this section cleaned up now. You can see in this clump right here, we've got a few too many of them, and there's a few weak ones, a few dead ones. We're just going to go through and remove the dead ones first. It's obvious at this time because they're brown and dried out.
Lonesome, like you were when you were 16, when maybe even I weren't listening.
And again, just to re-emphasize for you guys, this was a floral cane last year. After it fruits, it'll die off. So once it's finished fruiting, the earlier you remove it, the better off you are. And down here you can see, we've got a nice strong cane here. This one's pretty strong, this one, and we've got a few other weak ones. So what we're gonna do is remove this weak one. Again, we wanna leave about 4 to 6. So this is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and then I think I'm gonna remove this one here. Because again, it's small, weak, very thin stalk compared to some of our bigger, healthier ones. You can see this one here is dead. So we've got 1, 2, 3, 4 nice ones. And then we've got this stalk back here. We've got another clump where we're going to clean up as well. Okay, we've got a clump back here. You can see there are a few dead ones, the brown ones. These ones are the dead floral canes. They'll never produce again. Let me give you a closer look here. So as you can see right here, we just removed the dead one there, right back there. That was a dead floral cane, it produced last year. Another dead one over there, And in this clump here, we've got 4 or 5 healthy ones. This is a nice, big, thick, healthy one. Look at that thing. It's gonna produce some good fruit for us. That one as well. And over here, I moved a few spindly ones because they're just clumped too close together, and we want to keep the big, healthier ones to get more airflow, get more light. So we took that one out there. That's what we're gonna do, is just remove the dead ones, keep the big, healthy, thick ones, and then also shorten our primate canes, what are gonna be floral canes this coming summer. That's where we're gonna get all the fruit on, all these laterals. You can see the buds starting to swell and stuff, even though we're still early. And like I said, this isn't the perfect time to prune. The best time is once those floral canes are finished, remove them out. And then also, it's usually suggested super early spring to come through and select some of your canes, but I wanted to get in here to show you guys now. Another thing about the blackberries is when they shoot those suckers up that become the primate canes, like this one right here, they'll shoot them pretty far. So if you wanted to stay in a row, you guys have to stay on top of that. Me, I like when they spread. I like when new clumps form in different locations. So we started all the way back there, and we've moved out to here, and now even out to here. So we've got this big primate cane that's shot up right here. We'll prune this one to about 3 feet, and it'll fruit for us next year and then shoot up new suckers. So we're just gonna keep extending the edge essentially. Over here, they've spread as well. We've got 2 beautiful canes right there. Look how thick those are. Right next to actually a grape there, and we can see asparagus back there too. So we're growing a polyculture of things all next to each other. And these blackberries need to be pruned just like the other ones. There we go, all finished. And you can see the contrast is amazing. So much more open, so much more light gonna get in, so much more airflow, and we chose the biggest, healthiest ones. So we're gonna be getting big, healthy fruit. And we reduce it to the amount. We only have about 5 or 6 in that clump there. We've got that one that moved over a little bit. I wanna save that one. And you could see I used some string to tie it up because I allowed them to get so tall and so almost weak in a sense. They drop down a little on me. But I wanna keep them off the walkway so they're not draping over onto me while I'm trying to walk in the food forest. When it comes to trailing blackberries, the pruning is even easier. Your main focus for this is going to be removing the canes after they've fruited. So those floral canes, after they fruit, they produce, they're done. You want to get rid of them and remove them. That's going to be your main thing. The other main thing is going to be removing any small spindly ones that come up. Focusing on your stronger floral canes and pruning around that. As you can see here, some of these lateral branches on this strong cane I have here, floral cane next year, they're getting a little long, so I'll shorten those up. And it's going to be, basically, you're going to want to work it to your trellis. So in this section here, this isn't the ideal trellis for the blackberries, but I'm in the chicken pen. I'm getting an extra yield. You can always do 2 wires too and tie everything to that. Make it easier to get in there and grab your fruit when it's ripe, because a lot of these trailing ones, they're spiky and they're nasty. Not the kind of thing you want to have planted in a food forest. You'll be able to notice the canes that are dead and the ones that are finished, the ones that have fruited already, and you just want to gonna come through and remove all those. So I'll find you a couple over here. I know we've got a big one that produced this summer, this thick one here. So that cane is spent, it's finished. We're gonna come through, cut that, and remove it. That's today's video, growers. Thanks for watching. I hope you enjoyed it and got some value out of it. And I hope you're more encouraged, not only to plant blackberries, but to get out there, to get pruning, to get your production even higher. If you did enjoy it, hit the like button, hit the subscribe button, share it with your friends. Don't forget to check us out on Steam It, and hit that notification bell, because me and Tuck will be back out here real soon, posting, having a lot of fun doing it. Hope you guys come along. We